For years, the Smilodon, also known as the saber-toothed cat, has reigned as one of the most fearsome prehistoric predators in popular imagination. Its massive, dagger-like teeth, powerful build, and lethal bite made it the apex predator of the Ice Age. But what if I told you that it had a distant cousin that was a predator that looked similar, had the same saber-like teeth, but was far from a true cat? Meet Thylacosmilus, Smilodon's awkward marsupial cousin from South America. It had the looks of a saber-toothed killer, but was actually more of an evolutionary oddity, a bizarre, ancient predator that defied expectations. Despite its appearance, Thylacosmilus wasn't actually a cat at all. In fact, it wasn't even closely related to Smilodon. Instead, it belonged to a group of mammals that were far stranger than anything you might expect. Let's unravel the mystery of this unusual prehistoric creature and discover what made Thylacosmilus so weird, so awkward, and so unique. The saber-toothed imposter, a marsupial predator. At first glance, Thylacosmilus atrox looked like a typical saber-toothed predator. It had a sleek body, a powerful jaw, and massive curved canines that jutted out like deadly knives. But if you take a closer look, things start to get strange. For starters, Thylacosmilus was not a feline. It was a metatherian, which means it was part of the marsupial lineage, the same evolutionary group as kangaroos, wombats, and opossums. Unlike Smilodon, which was a placental mammal, like modern-day lions and tigers, Thylacosmilus had a completely different approach to reproduction. It likely had a pouch like a kangaroo, meaning that this so-called saber-toothed cat might have been raising its young marsupial style, carrying tiny, underdeveloped babies in a pouch instead of giving birth to fully formed cubs like big cats do. That alone makes it wildly different from Smilodon, but the oddities don't stop there. Unlike Smilodon, which had a compact and muscular body built for ambush hunting, Thylacosmilus had a more stretched-out, awkward-looking frame. It didn't have the same sheer muscle mass or strength as its North American cousin. In fact, scientists believe that it might not have been an apex predator at all. The bizarre skull, a design flaw, or evolutionary genius? One of the weirdest things about Thylacosmilus was its skull and teeth. Smilodon's fangs were long, yes, but Thylacosmilus took it to a whole new level. Its canines were so large that they extended past its lower jaw. These teeth never stopped growing, meaning they just kept getting longer and longer throughout its life. But here's the problem. Teeth that big needed somewhere to go when it closed its mouth. To solve this issue, Thylacosmilus evolved a pair of giant deep grooves in its lower jaw. These grooves acted like protective sheaths for its enormous fangs, allowing them to tuck neatly away when its mouth was shut. Imagine walking around with two massive swords sticking out of your face and needing to evolve a holster for them in your own jaw. That's Thylacosmilus for you. But here's where things get even weirder. Unlike Smilodon, which had strong bone-crushing jaw muscles, Thylacosmilus had weak bite force. This was shocking, considering it had such massive canines. You'd expect it to have a powerful vice-like bite, but instead, its skull was more delicate, suggesting that it relied on precision over brute strength. So how exactly did Thylacosmilus kill its prey? How did it hunt? The mystery of the marsupial saber-toothed. While Smilodon used its raw power to wrestle prey to the ground before delivering a fatal bite to the throat, Thylacosmilus had a different strategy, one that remains a bit of a mystery. One theory suggests that instead of going for large, struggling prey, it focused on smaller or slower animals. With a relatively weak bite, Thylacosmilus may have relied on precision strikes, using its saber teeth to deliver deep surgical slashes to arteries and soft tissue, causing massive blood loss rather than crushing bone. Another possibility is that it scavenged more than it hunted. Some scientists believe that its large eyes and forward-facing vision suggest that it had excellent eyesight, perfect for spotting carcasses or ambushing unsuspecting prey in low-light conditions. Unlike Smilodon, which had to compete with massive predators like dire wolves and short-faced bears, Thylacosmilus didn't have much competition in its South American ecosystem. This meant that it didn't have to evolve into a hyper-aggressive apex predator. Instead, it filled its own niche, hunting in a unique way that didn't rely on brute force. Why did Thylacosmilus go extinct? Thylacosmilus managed to survive for millions of years, thriving in South America's ancient ecosystems. But then, something changed. Around 3 million years ago, during the Great American Biotic Interchange, North and South America finally connected. This allowed animals from North America to migrate south, bringing with them faster, stronger, and more aggressive predators. The big cats, wolves, and bears that arrived from North America outcompeted Thylacosmilus. These new predators were stronger, more adaptable, and more efficient hunters, pushing the marsupial saber-tooth out of its hunting niche. As a result, Thylacosmilus vanished. Unlike its distant cousin Smilodon, which thrived until the end of the Ice Age, Thylacosmilus couldn't compete in this new, more dangerous world. Conclusion: a predator unlike any other. Thylacosmilus may have looked like Smilodon, but in reality, it was something entirely different. A marsupial saber-tooth, a predator with a weak bite, awkward proportions, and a set of oversized fangs that it had to store in its own jaw. It wasn't a cat. It wasn't a dog. It wasn't even a proper saber-tooth in the traditional sense. Instead, it was a strange relic of a lost world, a prehistoric oddity that defied expectations. While Smilodon is remembered as the ultimate Ice Age predator, Thylacosmilus remains the awkward cousin, a strange and fascinating experiment of evolution, one that reminds us just how weird the history of life on Earth can be. And while it may not have been as powerful as Smilodon, there's no denying that it was one of the strangest, most uniquely terrifying predators to ever walk the Earth.